him enormously. Please welcome the wonderful Ed Gamble!
What's up?
Ed, thank you very much. We are very...
It's a job interview.
What are your strengths? Right. So what happened? So you did comedy at uni, and were you like legit? Fuck me, you must have been really good to have gone for the.
Well, I did it a lot. I did it a lot at uni.
So
and then
what age? What was the first gig like? You know, how did that come about?
First comedy gig, I was in a sketch group, so that would have been in 2004. And I think my first appearance in the comedy sketch group, I was dressed as a big bunny rabbit because we were really good. But even then, I remember. I know you should feel that moment. You know, first time you do something, you think, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I think the fact I was dressed as a bunny rabbit. It's very early doors to feel the bleakness that comedy can bring.
Great lesson.
Walking on stage just to the sound of my own poor steps. And it was a song as well, so I was singing as a bunny rabbit.
That's great. So what, 18 years old?
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
Who was in the sketch group? Are you all aware of this Durham comedy movement? Who was in it? So there was Naz?
Yeah, but he wasn't in the group. So you wouldn't have known anyone who's in the group when I joined, because the year after, that's when Nish Kumar and Tom Neenan joined.
Jesus wept.
But the year I was in it was. Well, let's see if the names ring any bells. Chris Duff. No, he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer now. Owen Mason. I think he might be in prison actually. Weirdly, Roddy Peters, who is an actor, and the next time I saw him after he graduated was at a production of a sort of walk-through production of Alice in Wonderland, and he was dressed as a bunny rabbit.
Oh! Felt very lonely clapping on mine. You had my back again. You're on fire. So who else was there at Durham though? Because there's quite a few down the years, weren't there?
Naz Osman-Alone, Mark
Naz
Cooper Jones, and
fucking
Kieran
great,
Boyd,
wasn't
all of the
Wit
Tank boys, yeah. And then after I left, that's when Stevie Martin and Liz Kingsman and Tessa Coates, the massive dad guys, they all started doing
strong
stuff.
pedigree, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty strong pedigree, I'd say. No, 4 proper jobs between us.
Yeah. Very good. Right, Hot Diggity Dog. You've only got a few dates left in...
Doing Australia and New Zealand, but apart from that, the tours. The UK tour's done. I'm happy it's over as well, mate.
This power couple on the front, God bless, we're doing a lot of heavy lifting here. I'm projecting how much I love that show onto you, but I'm going to say it anyway. You're going to miss that show a lot, aren't you? Because did you all see Hot Diggity Dog?
I'd imagine if you come here at any point, you've probably seen it in various states of disrepair. This is what this gig's so amazing for. James will go, do you want to come and try your new show? And I'll go, yeah, that'd be great to try the new show. And I'll go, okay, how about you come and do it 40 times in 1 week? And you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until it's good. And that's why this is one of the most wonderful gigs.
Thank you.
He's just got no respect for the audience. That's what I love about him.
That was... you know what? Thank you. Subjectively, I felt that's your best show. I thought that was a fucking, essentially a perfect show.
Thank you. It doesn't always feel like it, but I was very happy with it, and I do think doing this gig a lot really helped the show. And I tell you what else really helps the show, James. And I don't know if people know this about James. Is he's a very good laugher. Even at bits he's definitely heard before, and will proper scream laughing. And sometimes he'll laugh knowing a bit's good and the audience haven't gone for it in the way they should have done. So I'll hear him like fucking yuck it up at the side until it's like spreads to the rest of the room. Oh, that is above and beyond. Also, what James will do, if he's not heard a joke before in a show, I'll feel my phone buzzing in my pocket whilst I'm on stage. And it's Gill. Off to the side, just typing the line in verbatim and WhatsApping.
You have got me banged to rights. So what I
love that.
blushing because that is. So what I'll do is I'll type out verbatim what he's just said. I mean, like, that serves no purpose. He's aware of the bit. It's his bit. But very parental thing to do. So I'll write out verbatim, and then underneath I'll put in block capitals, excellence. not helping anyone.
Sometimes it's an improvised line, and I don't remember it, so it is helpful. But also, it's just a little boost. If I'm doing a gig, I feel the buzz in my pocket. I'm like, Gill loves that.
Oh, that's great. That is great. Now, which bits on the tour? I'm going to guess. Street WhatsApp, was that your man of the match? Because that is a fucking iconic routine. That really is.
I'm very happy with that one. That opens the show, and I feel like I could. That's the one that if I'm in a bind, if I'm doing a gig and I'm just like, I just want an easy 5 minutes, I'll just do that because it's sort of pretty straightforward and seems to do well most places.
Maybe I'm getting carried away here, and that would be characteristic.
Yeah, that's not like you to get carried away.
Street WhatsApp is that not almost like your? I'm loath to. No, I'm going to commit to this. That's your out your mandraw. that is. Would you not say that if you were to have like a signature bit, Street WhatsApp, to me feels like Eddie G's. You know, if I was in the crowd, I
don't think I could put it on a T-shirt like you could with those other things.
I don't know.
It's about an electrician taking a shit. It's not.
I would buy Ed Gamble Street WhatsApp tea towel. I would be all over that.
I'm not sure it's going to fly at the Royal Variety performance.
I'll be there front row, my friend. Street WhatsApp, because you're open with it, if they don't go for that, do you think... what I would say is that's them, not you, if they're not going for Street WhatsApp. It's
not a thought I like to have a lot while I'm on stage. This is you, not me. But sometimes we do know that is true sometimes.
Yeah.
And you get told very early on, you're like, if it's going badly, it's not the audience's fault, but it is. Sometimes it really is the audience's fault, or it's the room's fault, or one of the lights is wrong. But it's essentially never our fault.
Yeah, that's very true. What you mustn't ever do is say that into the microphone.
I have done that. I've said that into the microphone before. What the fuck's wrong with you guys? All of that stuff. That doesn't feel good.
You sort of grow out of that, though, don't you?
I think so. I think you have to. You can't get precious about your art when you're talking about an electrician taking a shit either.
What you said there about my squawking laugh, because I do a lot of TV warm-ups. Sometimes a sound guy will come over, and I'll know what they're going to say because it might be Pete, who I work with a lot. And as they're walking towards me, I'm already saying what they're going to say, and I'll say, "I need to stop the squawking laugh, don't I?" And they'll go, "Yeah." Because you can't edit around you, because like if you need to cut certain bits and all you can hear in the background is or I'll get a random WhatsApp and a mate might be watching like a repeat of Your Face or Mine from 2016. Were you warming up Your Face or Mine? Yes, I was, because they can hear.
Who's your fucking loser mate who's watching a repeat of Your Face or Mine?
I think you know them. I think you know them.
Jimmy Carr.
It's bad when your laugh is more more identifiable than Jimmy Carr's. Yeah. Now this block of off-menu live shows are they done for now?
They finished last week. Yeah, we did 4 last week.
Are there any more looming now?
Potentially next year, but you've got to keep an eye on social media.
Oh, Tim, chalk one down in the scoop column.
By the way, no one's getting a scoop out of this interview. All of your fucking podcasts seem to get some sort of scoop taken out of them, and it's not happening here. I'm determined for this to be scoopless.
It's happened. Off menu. 20. No, that's great. That's fantastic.
We're announcing that tomorrow morning, so
we're tweeting it tonight. Tim, live stream. Well done, my friend. How have you been? I think the last time you done the pod, which was more years ago than we thought.
Yeah.
I think you'd done one. I say think. I know because I've listened back to. You'd done one live show in Canada.
Yes, that was our first live podcast. Was at the Montreal Just for Laughs festival.
How have you found them? How different is it to the? And that's an obvious question to ask, but do you feel them? Have you felt them change the more you've been doing that? Has anyone been to the live off menus? 7 owls. Sorry, yeah, go for it.
No, I mean, we love him. That first one we did in Montreal was just a straightforward episode, and we absolutely loved it. We had the comedian Chris Redd on. I don't know if you know Chris Redd. Absolutely phenomenal comic, and he just got it and played along and was just so perfect. When we started doing them in the UK, we obviously had to do the first half as well, which is we ended up, me and James got them to send the menus in, the audience, their own dream menus, and sort of go through them and then talk to them about the menus in the first half. And I think initially we thought that would be good because it'll be like some amazing menus and we can like talk about those amazing menus and it'll be such a wonderful foodie moment. And maybe there might be some silly menus or some bad menus and we can make fun of them. Became very apparent all we wanted to do was tear people a new one. So we go through the menus just before the show. We're looking at them like highlighting things we want to talk about. And we'll go, there's fucking nothing here, man. There's nothing to talk about. Because all the menus are too nice. It's just people who've really put an effort into it and clearly really like food. And we're like, why doesn't anyone like anything shit anymore? But we always find those first halves are a complete joy to do, to just be on stage together and chat to the audiences. I think we work pretty well together in that format. So.
I was going to say I have to ask, but obviously I don't have to, but I'd like to ask. The De Niro thing. So what happened? So James Acaster was here a few weeks ago. Some of you I love the fact that you're rubbing your hands together. There's a gif of the former Liverpool footballer Michael Owen rubbing his hands. It's my favourite. It really cheers me up. You just you lived it. So James was here a few weeks ago, and then the two of you wanted to video my reaction to me being told that you got Robert De Niro, right? But Tim, just one of those things, Tim had told me the previous night, and so the video, it never happened. But I was, because they knew that I'd be happier than them, right? They knew that my reaction would be, oh my God. How did it come about? Because that's when you started that pod, I think I WhatsApped you this at the time, never in a billion years are you thinking, we'll get, for many, the greatest screen actor of all time on the podcast. Yeah,
I mean, it's not something you start a podcast thinking, is it? Day one of recording that podcast, we got Scroobius Pip and Grace Dent, and we were like fucking happy with that.
Perfect, yes. That's a great start to any podcast. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the absolute forefathers of podcasting and one of the greatest living food critics. Yeah, sure.
Literally perfect.
No, you're never thinking De Niro. It's a crucial mistake a lot of podcasts make. They start the podcast, they buy a microphone, and they're thinking, one day, De Niro. I'm sure you've done the same with this podcast, James. You get De Niro to design his dream comedy lineup.
Yeah. I was gutted you got in there first.
How did it come about? I mean, it's quite boring answer. It just came through his PRs, and because he was promoting this new Netflix show, 0 Day. But we get so many names come through. Going, are you up for this person? We go, well, obviously we're up for that person, but it's not going to happen, and it just goes away, or we'll get it penciled and it never happens, or we're sat there in the studio waiting for them to arrive, and then they pull out Shania Twain.
I'm surprised at that.
Oh fuck! I gave you a scoop. I think she'd lost her voice or something. It was a fair reason. We didn't think the De Niro one was going to happen. It kept getting closer and closer to the day. First off, they said, would you want to interview Robert De Niro? Imagine that as a question. Yes, I think we would like Robert De Niro on our podcast. And then, he's penciled or whatever. We've got a day. We're like, you've got to go to the Langham Hotel to interview him. We're like, yeah, cool, whatever, man. We'll see you there. Really, just playing chicken with these fucking PRs, being like, cool, we're getting on the tube now. I'm nearly at the hotel. See you there with Robert De Niro. Went into this little room up the lift. We're laughing our heads off, going, what fucking, where are we going to go for lunch when this doesn't happen? Yeah. Get into this room, there's like microphones set up. We're like, woohoo, they are really pushing it this time. Sit down. At that point, a succession of PRs from different companies come in, like his PR, Netflix's PR, like the British Netflix PRs. It's immediately obvious why this had sorted out. Met these two Netflix PRs. We're like, we love the show. We're like, okay, it's you guys.
my God.
This is on your fucking head. And just, a lot of people coming and going, oh, Bob's so lovely, he's such a nice man. Sometimes it takes a while to pull stuff out of him. We're like, fucking hell, as if this wasn't stressful enough. And then he just came in and we had a chat to Robert De Niro.
By the way, that's incredible. That's what an accomplishment that is. Do you, even up to this day, do you look back and puff out your cheeks? Do you sort of remember every now and then and go, we had Robert De Niro on the podcast?
Yeah, definitely. It's absolutely insane because we don't change the format for anyone, including James shouting at them. And I think there was talk actually of warning him that was going to happen. But the next thing you know, the podcast has started and we're like, fuck, we did not warn this international treasure in his 80s that James is about to scream poppadoms or bread at him. So we're like, we could be getting the ultimate scoop here. But look, he took it all in his stride. I think slightly baffled for the first 40 minutes, maybe.
I mean, that in itself, that's a big deal. The fact that you are, in the way that, say, back in the 70s, 80s, it would have been Parky as part of this press tour for a movie and whatnot. To be a part of for Off-Menu to be a big part of the press tour that's...
Yeah, I don't think it's not. We're not fully on it yet. I think it's every so often. But I think he was only doing 2 bits of press during the day that day. It was...
Are you joking?
It was us and then a GQ thing. And then he might have had... Did he have Graham Norton that night, maybe? So, maybe three things, but when one of them's GQ and one of them's Norton, the fact that we were the other one is absolutely insane.
That's amazing, brilliant. Do you? Look, I know you're a metal fan. I know you're a wrestling fan. We bond over our love of wrestling.
We do bond over our love of wrestling.
We do. Any wrestling fans in? 3 more owls. Do you have a wish list? I'm not asking you to spoil anything or anything like that. But is there I would secretly love X?
Yeah, I mean loads of wrestlers for sure. But I'm also aware of sometimes we get offered people, and I'm not sure about the crossover with my enjoyment of them and our listenership's enjoyment of them. So I think with wrestlers, I'd take anyone from the WWE roster, but I mean our listeners are just going, who? So it would have to be, Cena or The Rock, basically.
Really?
I think that's who our listeners would connect with. I'll happily interview anyone, but in terms of it being a good episode for everyone, yeah.
I've got 2 daughters, and they love Bianca. They love this wrestler Bianca Belair. Right? Very charismatic. I mean, she's fantastic. Would a Bianca Belair?
I'd be happy to. I'm sure people will get on board. I think a lot of the time, there's always that reaction of I don't know who this is, but then most of the time, if it's a good episode, people get over it very quickly.
It's a good episode.
Yeah.
Going back to De Niro very quickly, do you have a favourite De Niro movie?
For a long time, it was King of Comedy, and I think it might still be that now.
It is a timeless performance. I mean, it's unbelievable. Sorry, I've turned this into Barry Norman, but that's a fantastic pick.
Yeah, it's an amazing film. I mean, Goodfellas was probably the film I saw when I was a teenager, where I was just completely blown away by a film for the first time, really. But I think King of Comedy is a perfect film.
Do you think he's one of those guys where, because I've heard if you bring up things from the past with certain icons, they don't give a shit because they all they care about is what's happening now and happening in the future, and they don't want to hear about, I loved you in Godfather Part 2 or whatever. Or do you think he doesn't mind that sort of thing?
No, he was enjoying talking about his work, I think. And I know a lot of people are concerned with what's happening now. But for him, what was happening at that moment was us asking him what his favourite side was. So I think he was very happy to delve into the back catalogue. But when you hear someone start, you suddenly realise where you are. When he said, I ate cobra when we were on the set of The Deer Hunter. And you're like, fuck!
That might be my favourite.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
It's perfect. But I mean, the hope is that becomes the norm, I suppose. That when these Hollywood icons come over, they know that if at the end of the day, if Robert De Niro's been on, fuck me. I mean, it's good enough for anyone, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think the norm. I wouldn't want it to be the norm. It's fun when it happens, when we get massive guests on like that. But my favourites are still interviewing comedians. Truly, like comedians that I know, and then like newer comics. I really like it when a newer comic comes on and they're amazing on the episode, and then they can sell some more tickets to their shows. Like I really like that.
Because there is such a huge bounce off the podcast, isn't there?
Yeah, now and again, I think it really works for people. But so I like a big mix. I like a big mix.
I mean, you've helped like get people's tours over the. Like a tour might be selling all right. I promise Ed's not asked me to ask this question. A tour might be selling all right, but then off the back of off menu, it ends up like jumping up a few levels.
I just love to support the younger generation.
We got it, Ed. That's the clip.
Yeah. And it just makes me feel relevant.
Now, Eddie G, have you big hit with I mean multiple big hits, but have you? Because I know that at heart you're a metalhead and a wrestling nerd, but have you had to turn down some of the more mainstream stuff you get offered? Because I imagine you do get offered a game show or a glitzy ITV type show.
I do anything that I think is going to be fun and that I would genuinely enjoy and I enjoy watching, and that I'm not limited to specifically non-mainstream stuff when it comes to that. So I was talking to Tim actually earlier about The Wheel. I've done The Wheel. Love The Wheel.
Yeah.
The most mainstream show you can do. Yeah, I love watching The Wheel, so I'm fucking doing The Wheel if it's offered to me.
So you think so if I think I'm going to enjoy this, it's probably going to be a yes.
100%. If it's something that I watch and something that I enjoy, you've got to do it. I think I wouldn't sit there and go, well, does this fit in with my brand? Because you just bring yourself to whatever you do, right? So you can do anything you want as long as you're happy and comfortable and can bring whatever you do to it.
It's like Les Dawson doing Blankety Blank. It's that sort of thing. Because on paper, that shouldn't work, and then he's gone, no, I'll make that work, and then it makes it one of the most iconic hosting performances ever. This is quite a random question, but I'm going to ask it. Is there a comedian, right, mine is Zoe Lyons, right? Is there a comedian that you don't see that much of, but when you do see them in a green room, you both go, fuck, what a shame we don't see each other more. Zoe Lyons, love the bones of Zoe, we get on great, but we see each other, Jesus Christ, once every 2, maybe even 3 years. Is there someone out there?
I mean, it's sort of most comedians now, because
really?
once you're touring, like, obviously I'm doing lots of gigs in the build up to it, but as described, a lot of my gigs are here alone.
Please don't ever change that.
And when I say alone, I mean alone. Quite often you fucked off and doing warm up for Martin Lewis, so I can't even. I just got to sort of go on, like it's my house and everyone's turned up. I'd say most comedians. I mean, so I did a gig with Rhys James the other day, and I don't get to see him enough, and we always have such a laugh. So
great,
it's always lovely to see Rhys. So I think that's why I kind of like writing a show. That's my favourite bit of the process, apart from the coming up with the jokes and that being a nice experience, because you finish a show and you go, well, that's me. I'm never going to come up with anything ever again. And then when you do, it's so gratifying. But also, you just do loads of mixed bill gigs, so you actually get to catch up with people, and you go, yeah, we should. We're free during the day, we should just go for lunch together. And then you don't. No, you never do. Of course not.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea, but it's
not going to happen.
Due to the vagaries of life, it doesn't quite happen. Well, grab yourselves a drink. We'll come back in about 10-15 minutes. Let's hear it one more time for the maestro, Mr. Ed Gamble! And now please welcome back James Gill and the maestro, Mr. Ed Gamble!
It's a good theme tune, that.
It's a great theme, and also we have to give all the credit in the world for picking it. Tim Lewis, round of applause for Always Be Comedy's very own Tim Lewis.
Good picking, Tim.
Great, really cheers me up. That it's very nice. How was your break, everybody? Was it all right? Did any of you eat?
You're such a dad.
Not before the show. Oh, thank God. Sorry, I didn't mean during the break. That would have been a very... The kitchen lads would have been really on it there. There's your burger. There.
Why are you worried if they ate before the show?
Because I can say this. Tim and I. Sorry, Tim, for dragging you into this. We love the kitchen guys at the Tommy Field. So we get that. We will get them. We'll get them gifts. We really care for these guys, and I know that they're happy when they're busy making food for the Always Be Comedy audiences. If you've ever seen me before, you might have seen me before a show chatting with the kitchen guys, and I'll chat with them at length, and we're always handshakes and fists. But I fucking love them, and they love it when the. Yeah, thank you, thank you. One of them's in tonight. Thank you, Alfonso.
Do they really though? If you like the whole audience, you're like, make sure you order something. Make sure you all turn up at the same time and order something. Or would they prefer it if they just sort of had a bit of a night off, James?
After the show, you're going to meet the kitchen guys.
Yeah. The kitchen guy of the pub I used to work in he had really dirty fingernails, and he used to. I saw it happen. Serve the coleslaw by putting a bare hand into the pot and then putting it on the plate.
What? How stressful are? I know we love the bear, but you always say
This place was not like the bear.
No, but I know we love the bear, and I know so we know. I know the kitchens are stressful, but you walk past a pub. There's always a chef chain smoking outside a pub.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening in there? They look like they've just done a tour of Saigon. They're like chain smoke, like 3 cigarettes between the things that I've seen in that kitchen. I see that is a common thing that you see, isn't it? Like a chef on a break. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
I don't want to cast aspersions or speculate on sort of chefs' lives, but I think a lot of that is to do with their life outside the kitchen as well as inside the kitchen.
Well, let's speculate.
Yeah, so let's speculate. Let's
go
go
on.
for it.
What are you thinking?
They're addicts.
I didn't see that. I did not know. Not Alfonso, the guys downstairs.
Said nothing about the guys at the Tommy Field.
Yeah.
They love to work. We know that.
They're addicted to making great food for you guys. That was like an ad read for the burger at the Tommy Field. There was one. I know I was like awkwardly looking at the screen. There was one question I didn't ask, and it was auditions, because I know you have done acting. Do you still go for auditions now?
Well, all auditions now, from what I can work out, are taped. So you have to send in a tape. So there's an email saying, do you want a tape for this? And you go, yeah. And then you put a load of effort into it and you go on tape and then you send it in and then you sort of don't hear anything back ever. Not even, thank you, we received the tape. So
Right.
now I just can't really be asked, James, to be honest.
So you don't really submit them for the.
I think the life of an actor must be just constantly on a knife edge of imposter syndrome and worrying that you're never going to hear back from something or get a job. So I'm perfectly happy out of that, to be honest. And I've done some fucking awful auditions. In the Room is even worse. Back when it used to be In the Room pre-COVID, I went to LA for a long time because I just done a TV show. So I was like, we'll go to LA. I was doing stand-up and stuff out there and did loads of auditions in the Room. And when you're in a queue of 50 people to get in there, and the casting director looks honestly like they want to end their own lives. And I did one where it was like about 8 pages of script, and there was a dog in the casting room for some reason. I think the casting director's dog was there, and I looked at the dog while I was doing a line, and the dog fell asleep in front of me. I've never had that before. An animal held eye contact with me and fell asleep, like making a point.
That's great. The worst one I ever did, I've not done for ages, but it was for Candy Crush. It's for an advert.
Not the game. It wasn't for the game Candy Crush.
It was for the game Candy Crush.
Yeah, but you weren't going to be in the game. That's what I was
not
saying.
in the game. No. I mean, no. And I had to play the part of a newsreader as if Earth was being invaded by candy or something like that. It was like, however excruciating you think that was, I would say times that by 1,000. It's really bad. Have you had one where you sort of like need to get in the hottest shower ever to scrub off the shame?
Yeah, I did one. This was many, many years ago. It was the sequel to The Mummy, I think. It was the sequel that Tom Cruise was in. And I did an audition for that, and they said, right, you're playing this character, and more and more it became clear this was not a large role. And they said, but he's a rugby supporter. So So what would be great for us is if you wore a rugby shirt for the audition. They don't normally ask that for auditions, to dress for the part before you've got the role. Normally you just dress for the part when you're filming it. So they said, make sure you bring a rugby shirt. I don't have a fucking rugby shirt. So calling my dad, going, do you have a rugby shirt? He's like, no, your brother might have one. Calling my brother, finally get this England rugby shirt, pop it on, sitting on the tube feeling like an absolute prick. Going this little role playing as a rugby fan. Get in there and they're like, right, okay, so you ready? I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, just to let you know, I didn't receive any script for this. They went, oh, no, there's no script.
Oh my God.
No script, it's sort of a non-speaking role, and what'll happen is we want you to just maybe improvise some stuff, and the scene is Tom Cruise is like, he's been drugged and he's falling through this pub and he's bumping into people, and you can just be like, oh, careful, mate. So I did about 4 or 5 takes of me going, whoa, watch out. Never heard back about that. And I think I have seen the film since, and I see what they were going for, and I think that it's blurry. The whole shot is blurry. So it would have been me completely blurred out going, yeah, give up.
That's great. What was the last bit of acting you did then?
Oh God, I couldn't even tell you. Genuinely
You
don't
can?
remember.
Oh, right, okay.
Genuinely don't remember. So I did this show ages ago, which was semi-improvised thing across the States called Almost Royal for BBC America. It was the first original comedy commission for BBC America, the channel, and it was the final ever comedy commission for BBC America.
It was a good show, though, wasn't it?
I loved it, absolutely loved it. It was just, I think it actually came out really nicely. It's just about 8 people saw it. Yeah.
Somebody saw me. I might not be able to put this in the episode, but somebody saw me doing a TV warm-up, and I got cast in EastEnders as the MC at the Walford Street Food Awards.
I auditioned for that.
Genuinely one of the best days of my life. I'm married with children. This day was like, because I'm absolutely not an actor, and I was just playing like me now, really. And but one of the actors found out that I'd got the part because someone just happened to see me doing it, and they went, you didn't even have to fucking audition. Because as you say, because if you're an actor,
yeah,
you've got the auditioning process is brutal, isn't it? And it's not just you can't believe that Friends have got a part. You can't believe that they've got an audition or a callback. Mm. That's how brutal it is.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, I did an audition recently. Like normally now I get self-tapes here all the time. I'm just not going to do it because like it's not a world I necessarily want to be in. Although I'd love to give it a go. But you can't tell a casting director, I'd be really good if you just give it me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Trust me.
It's like,
I'll be brilliant.
Because this scenario where I have to wait here and I film a tape and I'm quite nervous and I've got another guy reading from the other side of the camera who can't necessarily act. And I've got to show you what I consider this character to be, even though you're not here to immediately give me feedback and say, no, that's completely wrong, maybe try it a bit differently. I can't say, just trust me, I'll show up on the day and it'll be absolutely brilliant.
So you're not... sorry, I sound like a parent here, but would someone not... It's like my dad to this day says, you know what, son, you should be on that Mock of the Week. I'm like, there's a couple of reasons why that's not going to happen. But I'm surprised that someone's not cast you because of the pod and whatnot. Like a fan who works in the industry, they go, Ed Gamble would be perfect for this.
I had a couple of things that people were like, I'm going to give you a part in this, and then it just didn't work out or whatever. And I'm not going to tell you what they were because you're looking for a scoop, James.
Well, keeping on the scoop angle, Ed.
Yes.
When do you think you'll be back working through new material at Always Be Comedy at the Tommyfield?
Well, I'll be the first to let you know.
It's like playing chess against Gary Kasparov.
It'd be easy to let you know as well because you email me about it twice a week. Any announcement of any tour or anything like Australia tour, James emails. You probably want to run through that, don't you, before you go to Australia? Have you ever considered the Tommyfield? Yes, James, it's the only gig I do now.
Well, look. I know you like to pull my leg over my earnestness, but look, Tim, myself, all of us here, we're super grateful, and long may it continue that you have that you've got this brand loyalty towards Always Becoming. I know that you know that we are grateful, but it's nice to.
I feel guilty when I do other gigs, James. That's how I feel.
I feel like he's having an affair. No, sincerely, thank you. Right, so creating your dream gig. Now, the last time we spoke, you said that in terms of pre-gig rituals, you've sort of like gone out of your way to not have any pre-gig rituals. Has that changed? I've tried, to be honest with you, since we last talked, I've tried to veer that way.
Yeah.
I was warming up the last leg, Mike the cameraman, and because normally I'm like but he's in Mike the cameraman is in like a lot of the episodes. He's like a recurring part. But in terms of like getting into that state where you want to be loosey goosey and then go on, because last time we talked, I'd be like doing stretches or like slapping myself in the mirror. You can do this, But basically, like the floor manager goes, "Jim, you're on. You're good to go." But Mike hadn't heard that, so I'm chatting with Mike. How are you? The mic's live. So, pun not intended. The mic's live, and then we're having a catch-up, not seen for a while, and I literally had to lift the mic up and like straight into the warm-up, like as loose as it could have been. Yeah. And I thought of our chat, but that's sort of where you want to get to, isn't it? I suppose where you are literally, you're not having to be doing press-ups or motivational speaking. You just walk on feeling relaxed.
Yeah, definitely. I can't say I've ever tried the press-ups and motivational speaking. But no, I'm still very much the same. If it's the early days of a new show, I will be trying to remember the show, so I'll have to sit down and write out, all of the bullet points. Very boring, and just stare at that for a little bit. But even then, I get distracted halfway through doing that, and I pop YouTube on and get lost in an absolute horrible YouTube hole of conspiracy theories and old episodes of Airline now. So many old episodes of Airline on YouTube. Sometimes there's compilations of specifically people freaking out when they've lost their passport, or every episode of Airline is the same, right? So hang on, which is Airline the ITV one, the EasyJet one, or is that? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. So every episode's the same. It's really entitled passenger arrives and goes, well, I tried to check in and they said that the check-in's shut. They're like, yeah, the flight leaves in 15 minutes. Well, the flight's still here. Yeah, it is, yeah. So I can get on it. No, that's not how air travel works. We can transfer you for free. I don't want to be transferred for free. And then they go, I'm going to find another airline. And they walk off and they obviously can't find another way to get to Dublin. Then they come back and they go, well, I think I'll fly EasyJet. And so I've watched maybe 8 hours of that happen in the build-up to a show, and then I just go on.
Can I just say, there's a guy on the second row. You spoke to his soul there.
Yeah. We're on the same algorithm.
That was really lovely. That was a lovely moment. That was nice.
No, sorry, I was getting mixed up with another airline-based show. It's the Ryanair from Belfast flight. That was a video I watched the other day.
He went from superfan to hostile quite quickly there.
No, I appreciate being picked up on the details.
But then he went, and you'd know that if you watched it. Yeah, all right, mate. Jeez. Keep it light. So you're watching YouTube.
Some of them don't realise that you need photographic ID to fly within the UK, James. Can you imagine that?
I can't imagine that. So before you go on, you're watching a conspiracy video. What sort of stuff are we talking?
Now and again, like conspiracy theories, I'd say. I like a YouTube conspiracy, but it's mainly Airline.
What's a light conspiracy?
Nothing too heavy. Although, now and again, podcasts, I prefer the non-visual format for heavy conspiracy theories. Yeah. I don't want to see like how they imagine it happening. I want to just hear, someone from the New York Times maybe talking about, how Hillary Clinton drinks the blood of children or something.
He was not nodding on that one.
No, because he believes it.
A bit of like QAnon. Who would MC the gig, Edward?
Well, it was an easy choice, James, as you can imagine, given I've already done this format once. Best Friends Club. Do you not remember Best Friends Club?
Go on.
I can't believe no one here remembers Best Friends Club. We did it 4 times. Best Friends Club was a gig, a semi-regular new material gig in the basement of the Leicester Square Theatre, a venue that does not exist within the Leicester Square Theatre anymore.
Does it not?
No.
What happened?
I think they turned it into a bar, and then I think it's just storage now, maybe.
Oh my God. Did you ever go to the basement at the Leicester Square Theatre? Great.
Yeah.
Because that new act competition was in the basement.
Yes, it
wasn't it?
was. Yeah. Well, so was Best Friends Club. You should know about Best Friends Club then. It was compared by, all at the same time, me, Nish, and James Acaster.
What?
Yeah.
Hands up who went to Best Friends Club?
No, of course they didn't.
Oh, this is...
The capacity was about 30, and I'd say we got 15 in every time.
So when did Best Friends Club... When was this? What year?
mean, this would have probably been 2011? 2012, maybe.
Wow.
And the premise of Best Friends Club,
this is great.
which it mirrored what was going on in our genuine lives, is that me and Nish were trying to force ourselves into the lives of James Acaster, and he was very much resisting being our best friends. And it's genuinely how our lives were at the time. So James had come to live with me and Nish were living together, and James came to live with us for like a month while he was trying to find some new accommodation, and slept on our sofa bed for about a month. And we just annoyed the shit out of him all day long. And the comparing, from what I can remember, was us all going on stage and me and Nish just singing songs at James about wanting to be his best friend. To the bafflement of the 15 people in the room, by the way. We were like, hey buddy, how's it going? We're best friends, Best Friends Club. And then we'd bring some poor fucking act on who'd have to go on. So that was the first time we did it.
That's great.
I'd say we did 3 more Best Friends Clubs, and this is the heartbreaking thing. Of course this happened. The next 3 Best Friends Club and the final 3 Best Friends Clubs, James pulled out of the day before. He did it once, and then me and Nish just had to do the rest of them. I think the final Best Friends Club, how's this for a lineup? It was me and Nish, and 2 of the other acts were Susie Izzard and Simon Amstel.
Jesus, Wang.
How's that?
How did you land that then?
I think it was through Nish's management, but it was pretty incredible. But you know, sometimes the brightest stars aren't around for a long time, you know. And the triple MC, which I'm surprised no other gigs have adopted, because it's very clear what's happening and no one talks over each other, and it's really easy to build momentum in the room when there's 3 of you on stage all at the same time.
Because I've seen duo emceeing doesn't really work.
No, God, no. I've duo emceed with Nish before. There was another short-lived gig, the late night gig at the Soho Theatre that Rebecca Austin was running, and she wanted to get friends who are comics on stage together to MC. It was just like this fun late night thing. It's a good idea. First night, me and Nish did it. I turned up and arrived at 10:30. Nish turned up. Nish was hammered because he'd been out for dinner. So I was completely sober and Nish was hammered, so it was just like looking after a 4-year-old child. That was like, who's the first actor? What's going on? I was like, oh my God. Okay, are you all ready for a good night? And Nish would be like, I'm ready for a fucking good night, man. And then the next night, is the night after, Nish was sober and I was hammered. So because I obviously went, well, if Nish is going to get hammered, I think that's how we're going to do it. We're going to get pissed. That's how it's going to be. And I turned up. He was like, hello, Edward. How are you? I was like, oh, fuck. It's a disaster. Duo emceeing is a disaster. Triple emceeing, obviously a disaster. But I would like to bring it back for one night only. There's a photo knocking around from the first ever Best Friends Club. I have no idea why it exists, of all 3 of us wearing sombreros. I don't know why. So I'd like to bring Best Friends Club back for one night only.
That's amazing. Yeah, fantastic. What was that dynamic like, the 3 of you in the house? How did that work?
It's pretty much as you completely imagine it, really. Well, me and Nish lived together for a couple of years. Might be slightly less, actually. You know, we would wake up in the morning, we would sit down at the kitchen table, we'd set the world to rights, we'd have 3 very strong pots of cafetiere coffee, and then it was a race for the only toilet. And then the rest of the day was a write-off because it was basically having to call in fumigators.
Oh my God! It's like a graphic term. with those guys, was it from the jump that you knew that we will be friends forever with Nish and James?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I'd known Nish for years anyway, because obviously I was at uni with Nish, and then we forced our way into James's life. Caught him at a vulnerable moment when he needed somewhere to stay.
Beautiful. I did not know about Best Friends Club. What a great answer. So who?
I know people don't tend to put themselves on the lineups, but
I'm here for it. I like it. Why not?
But I feel like otherwise I'm booking a night and then I'm just hanging around, and it feels like as a comic I should be on, in some sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, Ed right now is thinking, oh fuck, Gill. He's going to send an email to me. Ed mentioned Best Friends Club. What a great place to re-enact it, because I'll be warming for Martin Lewis. If you guys want to step in as guest MCs. Ed, who would open the gig?
I think it's going to be Matt Ewins, with the proviso that everything goes wrong with the tech. Because he is phenomenal. I think he's absolutely incredible. He's my first purchase of a ticket when I go to the Edinburgh Festival.
Yeah. His
shows are always strong. If you don't know Matt Ewins, I assume most of you do. He's an incredibly clever man. He writes these silly, massive shows with this incredible technological setup. He's amazing. But the most I've ever laughed seeing Ewins was when I did a preview with him and everything failed. And I think there were about 5 of us in the audience. I'd done the first preview. It was, back in the days where, doing Edinburgh previews, you go and do them everywhere, as many as you can, in front of tiny audiences, normally in July, so it's about 35 degrees outside. No one wants to be there. You're in the basement of a pub. And I look back on those days with real fondness, even though at the time it was miserable. But this one particularly, I just done my show to Indifference, and then Matt went on. It took him an hour to set up all the stuff in the break, so we're all waiting for an hour for him to set up this stuff. And he goes on, he starts doing the show, and fucking everything went to shit. The screen wouldn't work. I think the projector fell off the table. And Matt Ewins is so funny anyway, but when he's on the edge of desperation, he makes me laugh more than anyone in the world. So I think what happened was, because everything was dying that night, it was such a bad gig. The tech failed, something fell over. I think it took him an hour to set everything up. I think he did 12 minutes, and then he said, right, that's it, and had to pack it all away again. And that's my humour.
He's an incredible talent, isn't he?
He's amazing.
So creative. Really.
Yeah, he's incredible. I've seen so many of his shows, and it's just so silly. Just the idea that someone will put so much work into it, and so much incredible technological genius to do just like the silliest possible joke and the rudest, dumbest shit you've ever seen in your life. I think it's incredible. He's a proper diamond, Matt. Yeah. He's
become one of those. I say become. It's been this way for a good few years. He's one of those first name on the team sheet type of acts at Edinburgh. So if you go into Edinburgh, you would just automatically book Ewins. He would be on that list of say 10, 12 acts.
Yeah.
As soon as those the new shows are announced, you get your tickets to.
Totally, because you know it's going to be good. You know he's going to come up with something new and weird. And he's just so naughty, Matt Ewins. Like, there's a thing he did years ago where he had a really good Edinburgh, so all of the broadsheets and all of the newspapers were chasing him and being like, we're going to do an article on you, we want to write a review on you, but we don't know who to contact for your press. Can you send photos through of you to put in the paper? And he would just send photos through of other comedians. He'd send through photos of open spot comedians that we knew when we were coming up in comedy. So it'd just be Matt Ewins and it'd just be a picture of some other bloke. And I think the commitment to that, to not drop that when it's going well, is so... Because it's easy to be the sort of disruptor when you just feel like you're doing it into a void. But when you finally got people listening to you to be like, yeah, I'm going to fuck them up even more now. I think it's perfect.
So, because there've been a lot of comedians around the world who will play the part of, oh, I'm a maverick, and I'll never kowtow to the man. But then they're often the first ones who do. But for Ewins to stick to his guns like that, what is it all about? Just because it's like this almost Andy Kaufman-esque determination to stick to the
just because he knows it works. Because he's just I think he is always my first ticket, and it's always some dumb new idea. Like he did one show where he was He said there was a bomb in the venue and they had to find the bomb by the end of the show.
Oh my God.
He did.
Oh my God.
The classic, and this is before. Basically, there's a few comics who took a few years for even the press to catch on to them, but it was just comics talking about them. Now I think that's a lot quicker because I think the press now listen to who the comics are talking about and then they go and like rave about them. But yeah, Matt did a show one year where it was advertised as a mixed bill show. With 3 or 4 comics, but it was just a solo show, and he'd go out at the top, and there was this review in 3 weeks. I think it was one star, 3 weeks, saying Matt Ewins makes no effort to explain where the other comedians on the bill are. And I always remember this quote: makes no effort to describe to say where the other comedians on the bill are, simply saying they've died. But it's brilliant. It's him and Luke McQueen as well. Luke McQueen's one of my favourite people for stuff like that. Because Luke McQueen one year, you'll remember this, booked a late night slot in the Pleasance and started a word of mouth rumour, spread a seed from organically that slot was Frankie Boyle doing a late night show. And filmed it, and it's full of Frankie Boyle fans, and he walks out, and it just says TBC, it doesn't ever say Frankie Boyle. And he walks out, it's like, hello, I'm Luke McQueen. People go fucking mental at it. Because they've all been told it's Frankie Boyle.
Because he was flying, and what he was saying, do you like Frankie Boyle? And they'd go, yes. And Luke would go, you want to come to a show? So he never technically says, so you like Frankie Boyle? Yeah. You should come to a show tonight at 11 o'clock. And then they would buy the ticket. Yeah. And what happened? Was it just pandemonium?
I think it's Edinburgh, right? So I think probably enough people got on board with it, but I think there were some walkouts. But I love that. And it's also the complete antithesis of what I could do ever.
Oh.
Because my entire vibe is, please like me at all costs.
That's why we get on so much. If you've ever seen, there's a video of Luke McQueen. There's an England match. Have you seen the video? I'm sure you have. There's an England match in a pub, and it's not the Tommyfield. It looks quite a spicy boozer, and they're all watching the England match. And Luke McQueen walks in, unplugs the television, plugs his microphone in, and starts doing his stand-up routine. And he goes, "Hi, my name's Luke. It's short for Luke." And then it cuts to these England fans like, what the fuck? But again, I mean, I love to watch it. I can't relate. I'm not that guy, but God bless the Ewinses and Luke McQueens of
yes,
this one.
Absolutely.
Great gamble. Throw some sand on ADG's on fire. So who's in the middle?
2 acts in the middle.
Yes.
One act, I don't know who, I'm not going to name them, it's not a specific person, it's more of a concept. I want there to be a journalist who's doing their first gig because they're writing an article about being a stand-up comedian. I fucking love it. It's so delicious to me. I've done gigs with about 3 of them and they always die.
It's hard, isn't it? It's fucking hard!
I'm always emceeing and I get to go on and absolutely tear them a new one afterwards. It's fantastic fun.
I absolutely love it. Do you think they've gone in there, part of them thinking, this will be easy, or I've got this, you know?
No, I think they're probably on the forefront. They're going, this is going to be really difficult. It's going to be a rough gig, but I'll write this amazing article about it. I'll be like Hunter S. Thompson. I'll write this incredible article about it. But there must be a little voice at the back of their heads going, or will it be amazing? And you know what? I like to see that thought die.
I know you can't name them, but that's mad that it's happened like more than once.
Oh yeah, there was a spate a few years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, where it happened loads. There were people being like, I'm actually a journalist, I've just come down here to do one gig. And you're like, yeah, we've seen it before, mate, it's going to be fucking horrific for you. And all the comics at the back of the room are going to be rubbing their hands together with glee. So I want that to happen.
But you're right, there is a part of them that's thinking, maybe, just maybe.
This could be a new life for me.
Yeah, jump cuts to you and the BAFTA goes to and it all started. When I was a sports writer for about 10 years, and when I used to work at the London paper, which was a free sheet, late noughties, and I would get sent to do those sorts of Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
So I got taught how to do the 10-metre I couldn't dive because I'd have broken my arms, but the 10-metre jump off the high board like Tom Daly. I don't know why I did that. I certainly did not do a somersault. But you're at the top of this board and you look down and you think, oh, I wish I'd tried harder at school. Because it is like proper, it's terrifying. I got a game of basketball with Lou Oldeng that used to play with the Chicago Bulls and all of that. But I'm not a big guy. But and so I did a lot of these features and it's great fun. But I once trained with the Miami Dolphins, and the head coach of the Miami Dolphins halfway through the training session thought that I was because I've got the helmet and the pads, and he went, I thought you were a child from the local. Go easy on this guy because he's 9 years old. I was like, I'm 26. You know. Core memory that. Right, okay. So one of the middle spots is the journalist writing the first person account of what it is to be a stand-up. Who's the other middle spot?
Bob Thingymabob. He did 2 of my birthday parties when I was a kid.
Can I just say, when you said Bob Thingymabob, I thought, oh, poor Ed, he's had a senior moment, and he's forgotten who the American comedian Bobcat Goldthwait is. Yeah, you thought that you were thinking the same.
No.
Oh, I'll help Ed out. He means the guy that played Zed in the Police Academy films. Turns out was a fucking amazing comedian. But because I was like, Bobcat Goldthwait would be a great show.
Well,
right,
I'm not saying Bob.
So talk us through
Bob Thingymabob.
Talk us through Bob Thingymabob. Yeah. What was the shtick? What was the vibe?
I think it's proof of how brilliant he was that he was booked 2 years in a row for the same kid's birthday party.
That's the sign that you've smashed a gig, when you get invited back.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you've ever booked entertainment for your children's birthday parties.
Oh, I am the...
Of course you are. I'm so sorry.
If they ever said, we want Bob Thingymabob, are you sure, girls? Whatever he does, I can do it. Have you ever seen that? What's the amazing Steve Martin film, Parenthood? And he's even called Gill. Yeah. And Gill does the entertainment. I've never related to a character in a film more in my life than Steve Martin in Gill. Have you seen the film Parenthood? The line at the... Anyway, I'm sidetracked. I'm not Gill. That's too niche. Bob Thingymabob, please talk us through it.
He was a musical entertainer, huge fan. It's the first time I can remember laughing so hard that behind my eyes went purple.
Oh, that is the best. That's the best feeling in the world. There's a part of you that he's thinking, I legit might die.
Yeah, this is it. This is it for me.
This is how I go. Yeah,
I didn't know there were veins in my eyes, and now I can see them. Yeah. Sort of like. I remember distinctly one of his bits. He had a song that insinuated that I, the birthday boy, had a toilet in the middle of my bedroom.
Has he got a phone number?
I remember being simultaneously absolutely aghast and angry, and I wanted to tell everyone I do not have a toilet in the middle of my bedroom. But also just finding the surreality of it absolutely incredible. The song was called Toilet in Your Bedroom. I just loved it, and he did it the next year, and I was like, I know what's coming, Bob. Just to get ahead of you, I don't have a toilet in my bedroom. It's not been that kind of year, but I let him do it all the same.
What was there? Did he mix up the material at all, or was it?
I can't remember the exact set list. He did toilet in your bedroom 2 years in a row. I will say that.
So what age were you for these 2 birthdays?
I mean, it was young. I'd say it was probably 6 and 7.
Great.
Pretty young, yeah.
I have to make the leap. Do you think Bob was the inspiration for you getting into comedy?
It must have been the initial seed. Yeah. I've also remembered another. I can't actually say it because I found some of my old school project diaries. When I went back to my mum's recently, and she was like, yeah, have a look through that. And there was I had a party, or someone else had a party, and there was a magician there. And I've got the magician's postcard, business card, and I can't say his name because it's so offensive.
Oh. Do you know what? Let's not say his name.
I'm not going to say his name, but I laughed for maybe half an hour after I saw that, and that's just the memory that's come back to me. But Bob Thingymabob, definitely, I'd say just the idea that you can produce that reaction in someone. I think Bob Thingymabob, definitely my favourite comedian.
So great. Are we talking that magic thumb trick and all that malarkey, or is it?
It was mainly songs, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. But just very good at asking my mum about him. She said he was just good at like marshalling the kids, focusing the kids, and that's what you need.
If I'm at a party and I'm watching I'm like the best audience in the world for the children's entertainers, and it's who can marshal the kids.
Yeah.
And me and the other mums and dads will say, they're earning their corn this afternoon. Because it's 6-year-olds losing their fucking shit, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and you need to keep them focused, you know?
Now, have you tracked down Bob to say thank you or anything like that?
Don't want to be morbid, but I'd imagine he's dead.
Tim, bring him in. Here to sing Toilet in Your Bedroom. Go wild! There's a toilet in your bedroom.
There's not a toilet in my bedroom, Bob!
I don't have a toilet in my bedroom! Mummy, tell him! Right, okay, great middle section. Love the middle section. Who is closing this juggernaut, Ed?
I think it's Anna and Katy.
Great choice. Now, please talk us through Anna and Katy.
Sketch
Talk about
double
funny
act.
bones.
Sketch double act. Anna Crilly, Katy Wicks. Probably one of the 2005. Probably one of the first shows I saw in Edinburgh when I was up there doing student shows, and they just killed me. Like the sketches are long and deliberately weird, and they are just the two funniest fucking people I'd ever seen on stage. I mean, just all of the looks to each other, all of the concepts of the sketches. They had one that was a balloon safari, which was them running a safari park. They did South African accents. They were running a safari park, but all of the animals were deflated balloons. And one of the balloons was called Andy Peters, and it just proper like Vic and Bob level silliness. And they did one where they played Michael Bublé and his family, the Bublés, and all they ate was Bublé and Squeak, and it was just joyous, like proper joyous stuff. So I went to see them year on year every time they were in Edinburgh.
So then Katy gets not going out, Anna gets lead balloon.
Yeah.
Is that why they stopped, or was it just?
No, I think they came back and did some more shows later. They did an amazing sketch with called Long Arm of the Law, where it was just a police but with really long arms. And they had a TV show. They had a Channel 4 sketch show. The most memorable of those sketches was probably the morning show, Congratulation, where the catchphrase was congratulation. I mean, you have to see it. It really does. It really does work. Just phenomenal, and they're both so incredible individually as well. That
Do you know if they've ever talked about like bringing it back now?
I'm not sure. I'm not in the inner circle, but I'd go.
They were the thing with that, and because there is sort of a dearth of, like Tim and I talk about this, because we used to book a lot of sketch acts when there were actual sketch acts.
Yeah.
Why do you think there's not as many? Because there's hardly any at all, really.
Well, it's really difficult, isn't it? Because I remember when I first started going to Edinburgh, there was like a huge wave of brilliant
like
sketch
Jigsaw.
Even before that, there was like Colin and Fergus and House of Windsor. And there were some amazing sketch acts. I think there are still amazing sketch acts, but sketch shows don't really get made anymore.
That's right, yeah.
So if you're in a sketch group, I think you're basically going into it being like, well, we'll just do it live for a bit, and then there's sort of nowhere to go from there. So they can't really get on telly anymore, which is a real shame, because I think we've had some incredible sketch shows, but they're just very expensive to make. So hopefully now, I mean, Mitchell and Webb's back, right?
That's
and
right.
They've got the cast that they've got is made up of like outstanding sketch performers from the current sketch scene.
Kyle's in it.
Stevie Martin's in it. I think Laura Ricotte's in it. She's stand up as well. But yeah, so hopefully we see another. But these things come in waves, don't they?
I was about to say, do you think the pendulum will swing the other way? Because there were, as I say, in this room we had lots of sketch. Max and Ivan might have been the last sketch act that we've had in this room.
Yeah.
So hopefully it does swing back.
Yeah, I mean, but Anna and Katy and Clang, who I think I mentioned the last time we did the podcast, that it was that year that I think we went to see those shows multiple times because they just blew us away.
And the thing with Anna and Katy is that because they were having so much fun, and then that was so infectious. And that's sort of the key to great sketches. When Pappies were great for this. When it looked like they were really enjoying it, then that would spread to the crowd.
Totally. And there was just so much room for weirdness as well. Anna and Katy were also in one of my favourite Edinburgh shows of all time, which was a play written by Danielle Ward called Sister Psycho, where Danielle Ward played a nun called Sister Psycho, and it was like Anna and Katy and a load of, I think Fergus was in it as well, and Colin, and it was just the most outrageous, like campy, Rocky Horror sort of long form sketch play thing that was just incredible. You don't really see that sort of stuff in Edinburgh anymore, which is a shame, but bring it back.
Bring it back. Now, has there been an incident that you would love to replicate at this gig, Ed?
Oh yeah, definitely, but this this incident requires the audience to be horrible. So I don't necessarily know if I want that, but maybe just for a little bit. And also Phil Wang has to come on for this bit. So it was many years ago. It was me and Wang were doing a show at a university. It was a London-based university. I think it was during Freshers' Week, and the audience were awful. Like they were absolutely shit-faced, talking, shouting out, not focusing at all. We needed Bob Thingymabob. Like they were all over the place. And like I was emceeing, and it got pretty rough when I was emceeing. No one was really listening. Did my best to try and bring them together. Brought Wang on. Wang's going on doing his stuff, and this is like early Wang, so it's, if you can imagine, even more laid back and slower. Like so laid back. He had a ukulele as well at some point.
Phil Wang had a ukulele.
Wang had a uke when he started. Yeah.
Not that.
And he was doing his stuff, and there were these girls sat about 3 rows back who'd just been talking all night. They'd not looked at the stage once. They were absolutely shit-faced. They were doing shots and stuff. And Wang had been on for like 10 minutes. Nobody had listened to anything he'd said. And the girls start taking a selfie like this. Going like that, taking a selfie, like holding their drinks up, like, yeah, like screaming, taking this selfie. And Wang went, hey, what's going on? And they're like, what? And they're like, what's going on? It's like, we're taking a photo. And he went, do you want me to take that for you? And they're like, yeah. Thanks so much, mate. Yeah, that'd be really nice. Get a nice photo of us. And Wang was like, no problem at all. That's what I'm here for. And he took their phone. He went, okay, ready? Do a nice pose. 3, 2, 1. And then he threw the phone.
Oh my God!
Top speed across the room. And they were like, what the fuck? And he was like, don't take photos while I'm on.
Good lad. Good lad.
I was crying.
Good lad, Wang.
Crying, laughing.
Now, we all know the answer. Was the phone okay? Did you have to replace it? Was there any drama?
I think it was fine. And I mean, we made a hasty exit after he'd come off, I think. Yeah. I think it was worth it. I think it was fine, but it was definitely worth that moment because I will never forget that until the day I die.
Oh, good.
And Wang is a lovely, relaxed man. Like,
he is, yeah.
To get that out of Wang, you have to be a pretty unruly audience.
For sure. Did not see that coming. So when he throws it, what's the reaction of the crowd? Is the reaction of the crowd?
Gasps,
Oh!
like gasps.
Oh.
And they weren't on his side ever. This was the girls who were taking the photo. They represented the majority of the audience. Like it wasn't like, God, those 2 girls are being annoying. I hope someone does something about it, like throw their phone across the fucking room. No one was thinking that. They were like, they're just taking a photo, mate. They're just trying to have a nice time. It's only me doing a Gill in the back, like sending a WhatsApp to Phil, going, you threw the phone across the room.
Amazing. That is. What year are we talking there then?
Oh man, I'm so bad at years, but it was probably 2009, 2008, 2009, maybe slightly less, 2010, around then. Yeah, ages ago.
Superb, wonderful. Has there been an incident that must not happen at this gig?
Well, the thing is, it is someone taking a photo in the audience. It's basically that happening, but without Wang there. So, I mean, anything like that is just disgusting, isn't it? Like people just taking a photo or being sick in the audience, or I've had people puking in the audience.
Have you really?
Yeah, as I've walked on. And that doesn't feel good.
Has that got better over time? So, for example, now with Hot Diggity Dog, audiences, I would have thought, because they want to see you, they're there for the show, or does it still happen even now?
No, I mean, there's less sick now, I'd say. If there's any new comedians listening, I think the reason to work hard at what you do and try and build your audience is there's less sick. In the later years, when you get really good at your craft, people are sick less.
So stick at it, guys. Do you know, also, this is, it's more like a point really, but do you not find like with the student gigs? So student gigs, because when I was a student, I would go to the comedy gigs, right? And it was bedlam, everyone was annihilated. And then if you just do a student gig now, because the students are actually working hard at uni, so you go grab yourselves a drink, and no one leaves their chair. Yeah. No students drink anymore, do they? Have you found that?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a student gig, but it has got less, depending on what university you're at, I think, as well. Yeah,
sure.
Like, I've not done the gig at Harper Adams Agricultural College for many years. But I can't imagine they're abstinent now. That was the gig where famously you'd go and you'd know this going in, that the audience would, before you arrived, had all pre-agreed on a secret code word.
No.
And if you said the secret code word, they'd all stand up and down a pint.
No. No. I would say that must not happen.
Yeah.
Did you ever trigger the secret code word?
No, I didn't. I've seen it happen though. It's
please talk us through it.
Devastating.
What? Go for it.
I can't remember who it was because I did that gig far too many times because it was run by my management for a while, and it took so long to get there. And you knew it was bad, so you'd be driving there. There was a similar gig in Northampton, the Northampton Picturedrome, where you knew it was bad, but you were like, well, it's like 150 quid. I've got to go to this gig, forgetting that it was probably cost you about 40 quid in petrol to get there and back. And you're with another act going like, I've heard this gig's shit, and they'd be going, yeah, me too. And you'd look at each other and be like, why the fuck are we going to this gig? And it just, it's like a death march on the way there. And then it would always be awful. And then you'd hop. But there's something about me that quite likes that level of inevitability. And it feels quite British, being like, we know it's going to be shit. It was shit. I'm shit.
Would it be an obscure word? Would it be like xylophone, or was it?
Oh, with the words, yeah, I think so. Or no, because they wanted to do it, so it would probably be the.
That's awful as well, isn't it? Yeah. And you're like, oh, fuck's sake. They're all standing up, downing a pint, and then it's unsalvageable after that, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is. I did. I'll check with him that it's all right to say this, so you might have to cut this out. The worst time I ever had at Harper Adams Agricultural College, I did it with Ellis James. And he did all right at the gig because he's got he knows about farmers and stuff.
Honestly?
Well, he's Welsh, he knows about agricultural stuff. We were driving there, he picked me up in his car. His car is as disgraceful as you can imagine a car. We're already worried about the gig. We haven't even left London. We were driving across, I think, London Bridge or something like that. And the police are doing routine checks, and they're like waving people over to do a routine check. And they wave Ellis over, and for some reason, he was like, that can't be for me, and carried on driving. The fastest I've ever seen anything happen, a police car screeches up in front of the car. Ellis has to slam on. The police get out, open the door, unclick his seatbelt, and pull him out the fucking car. I was just sat in the car, I was halfway through a cereal bar, God. And then he got back in, he's all flustered, he's like, right, okay, so, sorry about that, off we go to Harper Adams.
That is perfect. Real essence of the man stuff as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so flustered.
Sweet, such a sweet dude, isn't he? What a great
He's
guy.
a lovely man, yes.
Lovely guy. Well, final question in that case, how do you unwind after a gig, Ed?
Used to be with my 2 tours ago, me and my tour manager agreed that we could have maximum, if we had a show the next day, maximum 3 drinks. Then the next tour it became 2 drinks, and this most recent tour, it's one or none. Is the catchphrase is one or none, and the answer is normally none. Simply don't need that to unwind anymore, so it'll normally be straight back to the hotel room, and then sweet, sweet airline.
So tonight, genuinely, will you go back home and watch Airline on YouTube?
Depending on what my wife's up to. If she's in and she's not out doing something, we'll probably watch something together. She's less into watching Airline on the laptop. So we'll watch something else. Maybe we're on Righteous Gemstones at the moment, so we might watch that. Or some wrestling. And then eventually she'll say, I want to play a computer game, and then I'll go upstairs and I'll watch Airline.
bliss. I wish you a great evening tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you very much as always, guys. You are the best. Before we go, big hand for us, becoming his very own Tim Lewis. Thank you, Tim. And of course, for the maestro, God bless him, the great Ed Gamble!
Give it up for James Gill!
Thanks for coming, guys. Very grateful. Cheers, guys. Bye, bye, bye.